family and community devastated after 3 siblings are killed in a fiery car crash.
It was a very difficult weekend for all of us.
Well, it's incredibly tragic.
A sister and 2 brothers, all teenagers, killed after a car plows into a tree and bursts into flames. Tonight, a memorial grows as police investigate how it happened. Plus,
this is not a random incident. We believe that there is some relationship, however tenuous, there.
Toronto police releasing photos and new details about a woman believed to have been kidnapped in Scarborough, with hopes someone can identify her. And
keeping the status quo is just not working.
Premier Doug Ford in Moncton meeting with his maritime counterparts to share ideas on how to fix the urgent healthcare crisis. Good evening, I'm Kelda Yoon. We begin with an unimaginable loss. 2 days after a crash that killed 3 people in Brampton, we've now learned that the victims were siblings, a sister and 2 brothers, all teenagers. Our Greg Ross spent the day at the scene. He has more on a community in mourning.
Flowers rest at the foot of this charred tree, the result of a devastating crash early Saturday morning that took the lives of 3 siblings, including 15-year-old Farrell Blackman. He was a member of the International Soccer Club in Mississauga.
We're suspending all activities of soccer this week in recognition of this tragedy.
Tarek Savary was Farrell's coach. Farrell was the youngest of 3 siblings killed in Saturday's crash.
He was a nice kid. He was very kind, very polite, very disciplined. He was very sarcastic. He was one of the fastest players we have on the team. Such an amazing young man. It's a great loss.
Savary has spoken to the family, and they told him Farrell was in the car with his 19-year-old sister Tirza and his 17-year-old brother Judah. All 3 were killed.
Life is a precious gift, and to have it cut short so early is incredibly tragic.
This man didn't know the 3 siblings, but wanted to come and pay his respects. Another neighbor who lives just steps from the crash site says he saw the car just minutes after it happened.
Fire. A vehicle totally engulfed in flames.
Witnesses tell me that car caught fire within seconds of hitting this tree. It's still not clear why the car left the roadway. There are no apparent skid marks here. Police say they are still investigating. Greg Ross, CBC News, Brampton.
1 person has died after a 2-car crash near Weston Road and Starview Lane tonight. It happened just after 8:30. Police say that one of the drivers became pinned inside his vehicle. Paramedics performed CPR on the man in an attempt to save his life, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. Another person was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Roads are closed in the area while police investigate. Police in Durham are now investigating after a grisly discovery in Pickering. A person stumbling upon human remains that appear to have been burnt in a shallow grave along a popular ATV trail. Dale Manukduk has the details.
Around 2:30 yesterday, a person found something suspicious in the area of Concession Road 8 and Sideline 20 in Pickering.
He located something there in what was described as a shallow grave and contacted police. Officers attended the area. From there, they contacted the forensic unit as well as the chief coroner.
At this point, it is believed to be burnt human remains. They were found along an ATV trail that many in the nearby residential area frequent.
From kids, teenagers to adults, either walking, ATVs, on motorbikes and bike rides, and so there's a lot of hiking back there. There's a lot of nature back there. It's a pretty neat place.
Which makes it all the more shocking that potential human remains were found.
Being in such a small community here, I think it's actually very, very crazy to see that someone would come here and they thought it'd be a good place to put a body. If it is a body, we don't know.
Police have brought in a forensic anthropologist to help identify the remains.
So the anthropologist can still work with the bones. A lot of the bones will survive burning because the tissue has been protecting the bones. And so hopefully they still have quite a bit to work with.
This is the opposite end of Side Road 20. It comes out to a residential neighborhood. Now, police are asking that any witnesses who may have information or who may have used the ATV trail within the last 3 weeks to come forward. I did speak with the homicide investigators on this case. They say that video surveillance in rural areas is a double-edged sword, and that because vehicle traffic is so infrequent, it could make it easier to pinpoint any vehicles or persons of interest. Dale Manuktuk, CBC News, Pickering.
Toronto police have issued a Canada-wide warrant for a man wanted in connection with a deadly nightclub shooting last month. 26-year-old Abdi Rahman Jumail is wanted for first-degree murder, attempted murder, and aggravated assault. The shooting happened on July 17th around 3:30 in the morning inside a nightclub near King and Bathurst. 26-year-old Pardeep Brar was killed. Another victim, a 24-year-old woman, was seriously injured. Police say the suspect is considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to contact them. The man charged in connection with the disappearance of his former girlfriend, Elnaz Hajtamiri, will remain in custody after being denied bail. A 35-year-old Mohammed Lilo faces attempted murder and kidnapping charges after an attack and alleged abduction of Hajtamiri. Police have been investigating Hajtamiri's disappearance since she was dragged from a family member's home in Wasaga Beach back in January. She hasn't been seen or heard from since. A few weeks before she vanished in December, police say Hajtamiri was assaulted by two men who struck her in the head with a frying pan in an underground garage in Richmond Hill. Police identified two men in connection with that assault and subsequently arrested Lilo. Lilo's next court appearance is in October. The allegations against him have not been tested in court. And Toronto police are asking for the public's help in identifying a woman they believed was kidnapped. It happened last week in Scarborough. Police releasing new photos and details today in hopes of locating her. Jessica Ng has the latest from police headquarters.
Investigators are trying to identify a woman who was allegedly abducted in the area of Guildwood and Kingston Road. Police say they received reports from several witnesses Thursday just after noon. This is what Constable David Hopkinson says happened to the woman as she was walking down the sidewalk at Kingston Road.
The man drove his car onto the sidewalk, preventing the woman from going any further. He got out of the car and he forced the woman into the car and then fled that scene.
Police have released photos of the missing woman. She has long dark hair and was carrying a bag at the time. She's believed to be between the ages of 20 and 30 years old, and police say the male suspect is in that same age range. Now, police are trying to figure out what exactly the relationship was between the female victim and the suspect, but they do say the two of them knew each other.
Based on our witness accounts and based on the exchange as described to us, we believe that they are known to each other. This is not a random incident. We believe that there is some relationship, however tenuous, there.
The suspect has black hair and a beard or goatee. He was wearing a light-colored shirt and an off-white cap. He's believed to have been driving a white BMW with a blue symbol on the rear of the vehicle. But investigators are still extremely concerned for the well-being of the female victim. Police ask anyone who might have dash cam or surveillance video to contact Toronto Police Service. Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
In Brampton, some residents are cleaning up their basements today after yesterday's rain left them ankle deep in water. This is what Prince Sharma's basement looked like. He says the water came from the cold storage room and was filling up his basement for an hour. He says at one point it was over half a meter deep.
The damage is a lot now. Our hot water tank is not working. We're out of our hot water now. Our furnace is not working. Water got into receptacles, so it got we got a lot of damage there. With smelly, there's a lot of dirt in the whole basement, and now like we have family, we have kids, so I'm just kind of afraid it's gonna cause a later mold issue or something like that.
Sharma and many other residents along here on Ontario and Mayfield Street say they are still waiting for city workers to come and assess the situation. The city says they received almost 70 calls related to flooding and that staff are doing their best to address the issues. Environment Canada says some areas saw more rain in just a few hours than in an average month.
What is extraordinary about these thunderstorms is that they are very slow moving. And so when they dump rain, they dump lots of rain because they don't move quickly enough out of the area.
He says the area got more than 100 millimeters of rain in 8 hours. Let's go to Dalia Ashry now with a first look at the forecast. And Dalia, we got some more rainfall today, but definitely not as heavy as it was yesterday.
That's right, Kelda. I mean, on Sunday, we experienced up to 250 millimeters of rainfall in some parts of Ontario, like Brampton and Barrie saw flooding. Earlier today, we got up to 50 millimeters of rain. As for tomorrow, we're going to start seeing some sunshine in the horizon, which is what we all want to see. So the daytime highs in Toronto, 25 degrees, Windsor, 27, and Barrie was a cool spot in the region at 23 degrees. That humidity is still sticking around, ramping up the heat, giving us some warmer temperatures. Now tonight we are expecting some rain, especially overnight. As we head into tomorrow morning on your commute to work, you might see a little bit of cloud coverage as you head into work. Now as for the afternoon, that will start to clear up and we'll get those sunny conditions peeking through as we head into Wednesday. We still get a little bit of those sunny conditions, but then we will get some scattered showers throughout the afternoon. As for tonight, temperatures will drop. It will be 19 degrees, 80% chance of rain. As for tomorrow, 27 degrees. Like I said, the humidity sticking around, making it feel more like 32 degrees. So you might want to swap in your umbrellas for your sunglasses. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dalia. Federal safety investigators were at the Toronto Ferry Terminal today looking into what caused an island ferry to crash over the weekend. Investigators conducted interviews with witnesses at the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal. 12 people were injured in the crash, as some passengers who were on board the Sam McBride ferry on Saturday when it crashed into the dock tell CBC Toronto they felt the boat was moving too fast. In a release tonight, the city says the ferry has been cleared to return to service. Staffing shortages, ER closures, long wait times. Canada's healthcare system is in crisis. So how do you fix it? That was the topic of discussion at a meeting in Moncton today between several provincial leaders, including Premier Doug Ford and the federal government. Talia Ricci has more.
The status quo is not working, folks.
Doug Ford, alongside the other leaders, acknowledged the challenges plaguing Canada's healthcare system. But when it comes to solutions, they're asking for help.
We look forward to having a collaborative relationship with the federal government. This is a Team Canada approach that we need to take. We need to be creative. We need to come up with ideas from the sector, not just us sitting around the table.
Ford says they're hoping some of those ideas come from doctors and hospital CEOs.
Close to 40 years, I have never seen anything of this magnitude, this severity on a national basis in my entire career.
Some emergency rooms have been forced to close for days at a time due to staff shortages, including in Perth, Ontario.
We need to make maximal efforts to retain the emergency nurses that we currently have. The nurses that left Perth Emerge over the last 6 months, let's say, they didn't disappear into nothingness. They've found other jobs with better hours, better pay, more respect.
The premiers said reducing barriers for internationally trained workers was discussed in their meeting.
ERs closing.
The head of the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario says she's relieved the nursing shortage is gaining national attention.
When nurses start to exit the profession from their regular employment, the system crumbles. And that's why you have ERs closing.
The provincial leaders didn't share any details on other solutions being explored or specify how people in the sector can share their ideas. Healthcare workers are warning that the situation is urgent, as it's expected that the system will be under even more pressure in the fall.
There's a general consensus amongst emergency physicians that things are going to go from bad to worse because of, as you say, ongoing sort of seasonal flu issues in addition to COVID.
And it's their patients that are top of mind as they continue waiting for improvements. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
CBC News has learned Health Canada is expected to decide on whether to authorize Moderna's bivalent COVID-19 vaccine in the next 2 weeks. The news comes on the same day health officials confirmed it has secured additional doses of the booster shot. Moderna says it has a contract to ship 4.5 million doses to Canada. That's in addition to 1.5 million doses that were pre-ordered for 2023. Existing COVID-19 vaccines continue to provide protection against hospitalization and death. But the updated shot is said to be more effective because it targets both the original strain and the BA.1 subvariant. Health Canada still needs to provide regulatory approval to bivalent candidates from both Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech. The Canadians are being encouraged to keep their shots up to date as case numbers rise. Welcome back. Some cottage country resort owners say their local health unit is hurting their business. Their small private hot tubs will now be subject to the same safety rules normally reserved for large communal hot tubs you'd find at a public pool. As Angelina King explains, resort owners say that's simply unfair.
As guests enjoy the summer at Buttermilk Falls Resort, the owners are worried about their business come fall. They're expecting a quarter drop in revenue.
At that level, we're probably not making our mortgage. And at that level, we're probably closing the whole resort down.
Unless health inspectors allow them to reopen their hot tubs.
So this is one of the cottages we have with a hot tub. As you can see, it's on the deck. It's really private.
The hot tubs are used only by the guests staying in the cottage, but they and a handful of other resorts were forced to drain them for not following provincial regulations, which they argue are impossible to follow. Rules like having timing devices, shower facilities, life-saving equipment, and emergency landline phones.
I couldn't afford to do it. So yeah, the tubs would have to go.
It doesn't make sense. It's nonsensical. It was designed strictly for a commercial application. And here's where we keep the hot tubs.
Rob Berthelot keeps his hot tubs in storage all summer, and inspectors still ordered him not to use them. When some guests learned their stay wouldn't include a dip in the tub this winter, they canceled.
I got enough other issues to deal with, and having lost almost $500,000 in the last 2 years in revenue because of COVID.
The community says the closures affect other businesses in the area since it appears no other health unit is applying the rules this way.
The ripple effect of that into the local economy is, it's astounding.
Co-owner of Lakeview Motel, Harsha Manani, says having the hot tubs closed since last fall has led to a quarter drop in revenue. They appealed, but lost.
We were absolutely flabbergasted that this had actually happened because the hot tubs were used for a good 20 years.
It's not just places renting to different groups at a time. Here at Oakview Lodge, they only ever rent to one family or group at a time, and they're still being forced to close their indoor hot tub.
We're trying to do the right thing.
Properties with 5 suites or fewer are exempt. Oakview's single lodge has 6 bedrooms. Co-owner Greg Aber was told to remove 2 beds or close the tub.
But there's got to be hopefully some common sense and somewhere in the middle.
The HKPR Health Unit says it sympathizes with the owners, but
our job is to make sure that they comply with the regulations. And unfortunately, we don't have any authority to exempt people.
Ontario's health ministry wouldn't clarify the intention of the provincial regulations or say whether it'd consider amending them.
Small family-run businesses that are left in the lurch with our hands up high. What do we do? What can we do?
Angelina King, CBC News, Haliburton County.
Kids with autism are learning how to code through a new program in Etobicoke.
The coding camp will help children to build their life skills. So both math as well as storytelling, which is being covered in this coding camp, is critical for the children to build skills which they need even in their schools.
The program is organized by McMaster University and Lemanus Community Services. It is being offered to kids between the ages of 9 and 11. The goal is for students to not only build new skills, but to grow their confidence.
I'm able to take a little bit of footsteps into my older brother's path of him game developing, coding and stuff like that. And I have a little experience with it, but it was like a few years ago. The reason why I like coding a lot is like trial and error. Like if I mess up at a certain point, like I could like go to do it again and try over and over and over, which I like.
That's right. It is a 2-week program, and a behavioral therapist will be working alongside the coding camp instructors to observe and assist student progress. You are looking at a live shot of the city skyline. A few showers tonight, but clearing overnight. Currently, it is 20 degrees in downtown Toronto. Let's go back to Dahlia now with a more detailed look at your forecast. And Dahlia, there is some sunshine on the horizon.
That's right, Kelda. Some sunny days ahead, but I mean, overnight, we're still expecting some of those damp conditions. Yesterday on Sunday, we saw rainfall up to 250 millimeters in some areas like Brampton and Barrie. And then throughout the day, there was also rainfall reaching up to 50 millimeters. No flooding today like it was yesterday. I mean, some leftover flooding from Sunday. But like you said, Kelda, some sunshine in the horizon. And that mugginess, well, that's going to be sticking around for the next few days with that humidity. The daytime high in Toronto, 25 degrees. The cool spot in the region is Barrie and Peterborough. Windsor, 27 degrees. And like I said, the humidity is sticking around, ramping up that heat in some parts of Ontario. Now, tonight, we should be expecting some rainfall again to continue. As for tomorrow, that's when things start to clear up, especially when you're heading into work. You'll see a little bit of cloud coverage, maybe some scattered showers. We're expecting probably around 30% chance of rain, but for the most part, clear skies. That's what we're expecting, mainly sunny. And as we head into Sunday, that's when we start to see those clear skies continue. So those sunglasses will come in handy for Tuesday and Wednesday. We start to see some scattered showers as we head into Wednesday around 3:30 p.m. You can see a little bit right there in the northern part of the GTA. As for tonight, temperatures will drop. It'll give us cooler conditions, 19 degrees, 80% chance of rain. That humidity will continue until tomorrow, ramping up the heat, making it feel more like 32 degrees. And like I said, 30% chance of scattered showers. As we head into Wednesday and Thursday, again, we get a little bit of dry condition. Thursday, those damp conditions come back around, so prepare your umbrellas again. It'll feel more like 34 degrees, and there's a 60% chance of rain and a risk of a thunderstorm. And then Friday and Saturday, again, mostly dry conditions. So Saturday, although that's still ways ahead, you can prepare your umbrellas again as we kick off the weekend at the end of the week. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dahlia. Finally tonight, you might think an unexpected geyser popping up near your home would be a bit of a novelty, but residents of a Japanese neighborhood say it's actually a big nuisance. Here's one noisy reason why. The roaring from the new geyser is keeping people awake at night, and folks can't hang their clothes outside to dry because of the muddy water. The geyser appeared on the grounds of a shrine in northern Japan a couple of weeks ago. Local officials said the area had been a site for natural gas exploration about 60 years ago. And while visitors are coming back to check out the geyser, they're being warned not to get too near it or light fires close by. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Chris Glover has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. I will see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Have a great night, everyone.